into the School of Ministry. I just want to give you a few little jokes. It's nothing out of context. It's clean joke because I believe that where I am standing is clean. This belongs to God, so everything that comes out from my mouth should be clean. I just said that we should have a good reputation and be clean and respectful. And I am respectful, but I want you to listen carefully. I'm just going to give you three. I don't want you just laughing. I'm just going to give you three. And all these three that I'm telling you is going to fall right into what the apostle is going to come to teach, to share with you that goes on in the School of Ministry. First of all, this one here is related to don't let nobody move you from your seat. When you belong to a ministry, you're going to hear every wind that blows. You're going to hear people come telling you that, you know what the deacon wife said about you? You didn't look good this Sunday. But you know what? Don't take that for granted. This job is pertaining, don't let nobody move you from your seat. Okay? It goes on to say, there was this blonde lady that got on an airplane and she sat down in the class section of the plane. That's the first class. You pay a lot of money to sit in the first class. And the stewardess rushes over to her and tells her that she must move from that seat and go to the back of the plane in the coach. That's where your ticket's there. But the blonde replied, she said, I am a blonde and I am very smart. I have a good job and I'm staying in first class until we reach to Jamaica. But the stewardess was very upset, because people coming in and these first class people, they want to sit in their seat because they are first class. So the stewardess get over and she called the head stewardess, who asked the lady to kindly leave and go to her assigned seat. The blonde yet again repeat, I am blonde, I am smart, I have a good job, and I'm staying in the first class until we reach to Jamaica. The head stewardess didn't even know then what to do at this point because there were people backing up, the rest of the passengers wanted to come in. And for some reason, she decided she did not want to move from her seat. So the stewardess went to the higher authority. In Christianity, we got to go higher and higher, right? So she went to the co-pilot. And the co-pilot walked up to the blonde and he said to her, he whispered, wisdom. He whispered in her ear and he let her know. He said, nobody else heard, not even the stewardess heard what he said. The lady kindly got up from the first class seat and went way into her seat, which was 21A. And she kindly walked back there and she sat down. The two stewardess looked to the co-pilot and they said to him, what did you tell her that made her move from her seat? He said, I told her that the front part of the plane does not land in Jamaica. Now that is not true. That is not true. The whole plane is going to land right there. So you see, people can tell you things and make you move out from your seat. So we don't want that to happen. Alright? All of this is part of the ministry.
The front part of the train.
Now, this is so true. When I saw this one, this was so true. It was offering time, and the offering was picked up. And there was this Baptist preacher had just finished preaching such a wonderful sermon for the day. So he proceeded to the back of the church, and he was there shaking the hands of everybody that came into service on that day. And there was this little boy that is a member of the church, and he said, the pastor said to him, good morning, Jonathan. And the preacher said, as he reached out to shake Jonathan's hand, as he was doing so, he felt something in the palm of his hand that was in Jonathan's hand. And the preacher said, what's this, Jonathan? And Jonathan said, with a big smile on his face, money, Pastor. And the preacher answered and said, Jonathan, I don't want to take your money. And he looked at Jonathan. He said, Jonathan, I really don't want to take your money. And Jonathan looked at the pastor and he said, Pastor, I want you to have it. And after a short pause, Jonathan continued, because, Pastor, I want you to have this. For my daddy says, you are the poorest preacher we ever had, and I want to help you. We got to be careful what we say in front of our kids. For kids are going to react when they come to church. You know, you see it today in the natural. Sometimes you are so nice with some kids, and then all of a sudden when they come to church, they don't want you to hug them, they don't want you to greet them. And you often wonder and say, these little kids make the devil overpower them. It's not the devil overpower them, it's what they hear on the table. So we got to be careful. It all falls parts into the school of ministry. Now, there was this young couple that invited their aged pastor for Sunday dinner. You know, we love to do that. When I was in Ireland, I loved to invite the pastors to dinner. And while we were in the kitchen preparing the meal, the minister asked their son what they were having. You know, the minister came over and he was chatting with his son. The couple was in the kitchen, bringing out the food, bringing it out. So the pastor said to the little boy, what are we having for dinner? And the little boy said, goat. We're having some goat. Are you sure about that? The pastor said. Yeah, said the youngster. I heard Pa said to Mom, might as well have the whole goat over for dinner today. So you see, they addressed the pastor as the whole goat. But the little boy thought it was goat on the table. Again, you got to be careful. You know, this is all part of school of ministry. There was a rabbi that went to the barber shop. You know, we all were fall into this one. And when he went to the barber shop to have his hair cut, of course, he was getting ready to pay the barber, and the barber said, no, Rabbi, I don't charge the clergy for haircuts. So the next morning, the barber found a loaf of Jewish rye bread outside of his doorstep. See, the rabbi was thankful. A couple days passed and a Catholic priest came to get his haircut. He got ready to pay the barber, and the barber said, no, Father, I don't charge the clergy for haircuts. So the next morning, he found a bottle of wine outside his front doorstep. The father was appreciative. A couple days later, the Baptist preacher came in to get his haircut, and when he got ready to pay the barber said, no, Reverend, I don't charge the clergy for the haircuts. So the next morning, the barber found 15 other Baptist preachers on his doorstep waiting to get a haircut. All right. Well,
oh my God.
I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to end it right there. So, you see, in every joke, there's something that pertains to the church.
Yes.
And we got to be very careful when we are in ministry, or not only in ministry, but when you become a Christian, you got to be very careful. Sometimes, you know, we say things in front of our kids, and we just don't think twice. And that is why you have people that come into the ministry, they come and they start to disrespect, and they start to lose that respect for the pastor, for the pastor's wife, and for the pastor's children. I wouldn't go any further, but I know that Apostle Douglas has more to share with you into ministry. And this was just a little layout. I trust that it has been a blessing to you. That you take it may sound like a joke, but it's serious. It is serious, you know. And I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, your heart will be blessed being part of the school of ministry. But before I hand this microphone over to Apostle Douglas, I was telling the Apostle, while the song service was going on, while we were rejoicing in the presence of the Lord, you know, it brought back my memories the way back when I was in the island, you know, the way we used to have church, the way